started with this man, Ferdinand Porsche. At the turn of the 20th century, he was on the ground floor of automotive technology. For the next 50 years, he helped advance the state of the art. Following World War II, Ferdinand and his son, Ferry, developed a new rear-engine sports car. It was assigned project number 356. It had an aluminum skin and an 1100cc motor. Some 50 examples were built in the late 40s prior to actual production of the steel-bodied 356 production car. The first Porsche built was brought to the United States in 1982 for showing.
It has been restored in the last 2 years by the Porsche factory. Is here for the weekend as one of the cars that will be driven by the Porsche contingent. This car will be driven by Wolfgang Porsche, son of Dr. Ferdinand Porsche, Dr. Terry Porsche. It has a two-piece windshield, as you can see. It was the only car that in the Gimlin series that had the 1130 engine. The 356/2 and were built with the 1086 cc engine because of the requirements of being under 1.1 liters to run in that class.
From the beginning, Porsche saw racing as an avenue to promote and develop their production cars. From the 356, a continuing series of race cars was developed based on the original 1100cc air-cooled engine. Aerodynamics was important and allowed Porsche to compete against cars with larger displacement engines. Endurance races like the Carrera Pan American was Porsche's forte, but private owners of 356 coupes and speedsters also liked the reliability offered to them. The Spyders, with their 4-cam engines and aluminum bodies, were offered in several variations, always under 2 liters. They were the foundation for Porsche's reputation as a giant killer, always going after cars with engines 2 or 3 times as large as their own. The final version of the Spyders was designated the RS-61 and was the last metal-bodied race car Porsche was to build. 1964 saw the introduction of the 904 GTS. Its fiberglass body was bonded to a steel box-section frame. It offered a high strength-to-weight ratio, but proved difficult to repair after racing shunts. The familiar 4-cam power plant was used, but in 2-liter form, producing almost 200 horsepower using 2 double-barrel Weber carburetors. The gearbox was taken from the recently developed 911 and fitted with a quick-change gear cluster. Although suitable for street driving, the 904 quickly proved it was a world-class race car. Just over 100 904s were produced, with a handful receiving the newly developed 6-cylinder 911 engine. The mid-60s were a busy time for Porsche. The 356C production ended, but did not just die and go away. Restored versions of the car are tended to by devout enthusiasts around the world.
Well, this car is a 1961 356 Coupe. It's chassis number 10666. I've owned it for 18 years. It was restored in 1969, and this is the second parade that I've shown it in. I showed it in the Monterey Parade in 1973.
Okay, and why is this car special? Why is it so unique?
Well, it's unique to me because I did most of the work on the car, and that's why it's special to me. But it is a very rare car to begin with.
Production of the 356 ended in 1965 with the C-Series, but the new kid on the block, the 911, started something that has yet to finish. To take full advantage of the 6-cylinder engine, Porsche developed the Carrera 6 in 1966. Its fiberglass body sported gull-wing doors and was the first car Porsche produced that was not street legal in Germany. About 50 Carrera 6s were built. This one, with fuel injection, ran in a prototype class, while the carbureted versions were placed in a sports car category. How well did the car do? In its first appearance at Le Mans in 1966, the Carrera 6s in 2-liter form finished 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th, behind 3 7-liter GT40s. Weighing only 1,350 pounds, the cars could exceed 165 miles per hour with 220 horsepower. A quick succession of race cars followed the Carrera 6. The 910 showed improved aerodynamics and a stiffer chassis, along with refined suspension components and center-lock hubs. A first for Porsche. Titanium parts were being used to keep weight down, and the car could be fitted with a new 2.2-liter flat 8 in place of the reliable 6. In either case, the blocks were of cast magnesium to reduce weight at some sacrifice in strength versus the aluminum used in production engines. In 1968, Porsche felt the 8-cylinder engine was ready, so a new chassis, the 907, was prepared. It would be right-hand drive, bigger and heavier to support the 2.2-liter 8, and a new 3-liter 8-cylinder engine. A 907 finished second to the 5-liter GT40 of Pedro Rodriguez at the 1968 running of Le Mans. Porsche was slowly increasing engine displacement in hopes of obtaining their ultimate goal, an outright win at Le Mans. The 907 had come close, but not close enough. For 1969, Porsche pinned their hopes on the 908. Again, they came close, real close, losing by 15 yards to the same GT40. But for 1970, things would be different at Le Mans. The ultimate killer Porsche was being readied. 25 examples of the 917 were built in the long-tail configuration in the early part of 1969. They were fitted with 4.5-liter, 12-cylinder air-cooled engines. During testing, it was found that better handling could be achieved with a shorter wedge-style body. This became known as the 917K and would bring Porsche its most desired goal, an overall win at Le Mans. The 917K in its Gulf colors was brought to the screen with Steve McQueen in the movie Le Mans. surviving 917s still appear at vintage events and bring with them those great 12-cylinder sounds. Turbocharged versions of the 917 dominated the Can-Am series in the early 70s, none more so than the 917-30 of Mark Donohue. '70 saw the birth of the mid-engined 914. The affordable Porsche was mid-engined and could be had with a 4- or 6-cylinder engine. Its neutral handling characteristics made it popular with the racers. Used 914s are more often than not modified for the track. Some have seen more than 15 years of nothing but fast-paced driving. The early 70s saw the 911 transformed into an all-out race car by the factory. By 1974, the RSR was in 3-liter form with over 300 horsepower, slide valve fuel injection, and 917 brakes on titanium hubs. This was no cafe racer. The RSR won races with greater frequency than any Porsche before it. The whale tail took on greater significance in 1976, for it shrouded a new 3-liter turbocharged motor housed in a modified 911 chassis. With 234 horsepower, the 930 brought new respect for Porsche, for its speed and acceleration were in the same league with Ferrari and Lamborghini. In 1978, the 930 was beefed up with bigger brakes, bigger tail, intercooling, and 3.3 liters. This allowed 0 to 60 times in the 5-second range and top speed of 160 plus. The factory supplied racing versions of the car, starting with the 934. It was not highly modified, but its single-turbo motor did not lack for power.
This car has a 3-liter single-turbo motor, 625 horsepower. At Riverside, it would do probably 195 top speed on the longest race.
If that wasn't enough, you could order up a 935. With more power, bigger tires, and new bodywork, the 935 gave Porsche several years of success. Let's go for a ride in a 935. The driver is in total control, but the cameraman struggles to bring you the action as a 934 is caught and overtaken. 911 remained Porsche's bread and butter through the 70s, but was joined by two totally new models. The 924 with its water-cooled engine in the front. It gave way to the 944 in 1983. With a new engine and bolder lines, it was quickly accepted by enthusiasts. It was suddenly okay to own a Porsche that was not air-cooled. The 928 was reaching a completely new segment of the sports car market. With a powerful V8 engine and a luxurious feel and ride, it offered features not found on previous Porsche models. The 911 SC and subsequent Carrera carried the die-hard 911 fans into the 80s. But the turbo was back in 1986 after a 6-year absence. If the turbo doesn't offer enough exclusivity, then try this on for size. For 1987, you too can order one from your friendly Porsche dealer. If you put an $80,000 check on the table, you won't see a lot of change. '87 also brings us Porsche's newest flagship, the 928 S4. With a new nose and a new tail and 316 horsepower, it's Porsche's fastest model at 165 miles per hour. The 944 Turbo is close in performance at 152 miles per hour, while the Carrera Cabriolet allows plenty of fresh air and sunshine. For international racing in '87, Porsche will go with a proven winner, the 962.
Saw this 962C take the pool at Le Mans. It was timed at 243 miles per hour on the Mulsanne straight. But the outright winner was a Jaguar. Jaguar finished 1-2 again in 1990. So with the factory no longer offering support and development, the 962 has definitely lost its edge. As we enter a new decade, Porsche is offering a trio of state-of-the-art models. Four-wheel drive is being offered in the Carrera 4. The bumpers have been nicely integrated. Yet the new look still allows its 911 heritage to show through. A sophisticated transmission called Tiptronic is offered that allows the driver to change his shifting habits as needed. The Carreras sport a retractable spoiler that is speed sensitive. A new 911 Turbo will soon join the Carrera. The 928 continues to be a technological powerhouse with its beefy V8 engine and aerodynamic refinement. The 944 is now available in convertible form and is the only Porsche model that can be purchased for under $50,000.
The early 90s were not kind to Porsche sales, but the new 993 version of the 911 has put Porsche back on track. With fully integrated bumpers, the 993 sports a very sleek, modern style, yet retains the flavor of the 911. The suspension has been substantially revised, with toe correction built into the rear to counteract the rear weight bias. The flat 6 3.6-liter engine generates 270 horsepower with hydraulic valve lifters. 1995 will also see a powerful new turbo version of the 993 introduced. This limited production vehicle will offer 400 horsepower. With the 928 and 968 at the end of their life cycle in the United States, look for the open-top Boxster to join the 993 in 1996 as Porsche's two main offerings.